Hello and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are having a great day today. Well, are you? All right, great. Me? I'm doing pretty good, though this happened a little over a week ago. What the? That's right. So one morning I went to turn on the faucet in the kitchen and the handle broke off. So initially I was like, okay. I came out to YouTube to see if that was the thing that can be fixed. Like, are people fixing that part of their kitchen faucets? And yes, it can be fixed. So then I went down to Lowe's to see if they had the replacement parts. As soon as I saw the associate, he mentioned that Moen and Delta have lifetime warranties, so I could just call the company and see if they will send me the parts for free because of the warranty. But we did look around to see if there were parts at the store that I could purchase in case I wanted to get it done sooner than Moen would ship it to me. And they didn't have the parts. So on the way out of Lowe's, I called Moen to see if they could send me the parts. And because I'm not the original purchaser of the kitchen faucet, I had to pay shipping. So the shipping was $8 for the two parts. One is a cartridge, the other is a handle mechanism. So the handle mechanism was coming from Las Vegas and the cartridge from North Carolina. They asked me if I wanted to buy a cap as well. The cap would have been about $23, so I decided not to get it. I ended up finding it on Amazon for about $15, so I saved $8 even for the cap itself. So then that's $8 for the shipping of the other two pieces because of the warranty. And before taking my payment, the associate said that it would take 15 days to get here because they were behind on shipping. So 15 days. I was just like, okay, well, I'll just have to deal with it. So everything was on its way, and day to day, anytime I needed to use the faucet, I would whip out the pliers, I would pull up the lever and get the water flowing that way. And it was a bit of an interesting process as I patiently waited for the parts to get here. So yesterday, all of the parts got here. Of course, Amazon was the fastest. I got that part last week. And then came the part from North Carolina, which was the cartridge itself, and then the handle mechanism. So yesterday, right after work, I started on fixing my faucet. This faucet may be as old as the house, which is about 20 years old. The first screw started to strip within a couple turns. Ended up stripping it, and it was probably the flimsiest screw I've ever had to deal with. Like, it was just flaking everywhere, but that's to be expected. I mean, it's a 20-year-old screw that's had to deal with water leaking. So, I called my stepdad. He called his neighbor, and the neighbor came over and tried his hand at getting the screw out. And finally, we resolved to just strip the screw to get it out. And so thankfully that was taken out. It didn't harm any of the other parts, which I actually had replacements for. And I was able to get started on the repair itself. The repair went without a hitch. Turned on the water. The water flows great. The handle is so much more fluid and so much smoother than it was before. It's just amazing how you kind of don't realize that that would be the case until you have to do something like this. And it was all good. So it took me waiting about 11 days from start to finish to get it completed. It cost about $23, and I feel like I almost have a new faucet. Like, it's that smooth. It's really pretty with the new cap on it, and it's great. So along the way, it just got me to thinking. Whenever I was growing up, I would hear the phrase, time is money. And I didn't really quite understand what that meant until I got older and I assigned, I guess, my own meaning to it. And that was that if you don't spend time, a lot of the times you'll spend money. And if you don't spend money, a lot of the times you'll spend time. And I understand that time spends and it's valuable like money is. But I've also used it in the context of if I have time to spend, a lot of times I'll spend less money. And if I spend more money, then a lot of times I'll spend less time. So say lawn care, for instance. I spend time going to get the gas for the mower, spend time mowing the lawn, edging and sweeping and all of the things that come with mowing the lawn and lawn care. And though I may spend a couple hours doing that, I could maybe spend barely any time of my own and pay someone to come and do the lawn care. And so though I really didn't spend much time of my own time, I spent my own money paying someone else to take care of the lawn for me. And in this instance, it just really made me value time, because over the course of those 11 days, when I first realized I'd broken the faucet, I had to do research. That took time. I went down to Lowe's. I called Moen. All of these things took time. It took time for the parts to come, and then for my neighbor to spend his time. And then the time it took me last night to finally finish up the repair, like it took a good bit of my time. Not to mention that within that time, I was manually pulling on a lever to get the water out every day. And it may have only taken about 3 days time, but then maybe hundreds of dollars to have someone come and actually replace the whole faucet. And so it made me think about how valuable time can be. And though I was a DIYer before I started on this debt-free journey, I've kind of always been. I've tended to like a good puzzle here and there. So I would always try to fix things. My mom was the same way. Like, we just try to fix it before we go and have to replace it or spend money for a replacement or having parts shipped or anything like that. We'll try to fix it first. And so I've always been that way, but it just really made me think more and more about the fact that time is money and it's important. Another thing that these 11 days taught me was another bit of gratitude. I was surprised at how I would just go to the faucet and lift up on the handle, not even thinking that it was broken. We get so used to turning on a light switch and expecting the lights to come on, or turning on the faucet and expecting the water to come out, that we sometimes can take for granted that those are everyday blessings that we get to experience. You have single mothers, single fathers, young people, making it on their own, the elderly, a lot of us, some of our own neighbors who are having to deal with things like that on the regular, and they're right around us. And we have the opportunity to even be putting extra towards becoming debt-free. This debt freedom is a choice. It's an opportunity. We made the choice to get into debt, but we're making the choice to get out of debt. Even though it doesn't always feel like a blessing, being able to put more towards the debts you've made is a blessing. There's some people who can't see the hope yet of getting out of debt, and we can. And it just made me so grateful, so thankful for this journey and all the things that I'm learning. So grateful for the opportunity to share my journey with you and to hear about your journey, about how you're paying off debt and paying off your cars and all those wonderful things. I'm gonna try not to be so mushy anymore. So let me know in the comments, when was the last time you put more time into something than money and learned a lesson? Or vice versa, if you put more money into something than time and you learned a lesson there. I know I've heard stories of people putting both time and money into something. Say you thought that you could take care of something on your own and you invested a lot of time into it, trying to save $1 or $2, and then ended up having to call a professional and get them to take care of it anyway. And then you had to spend your money. Sometimes that happens too. But let me know what lessons you've learned by having to put more time into something to save a few dollars here and there, and what lessons in gratitude you've learned recently. I think it's always great to stay grateful. So I am grateful. I am grateful for you. I am grateful for this wonderful day, and I hope you continue to have a great one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.